Another quick bonus episode. Same Gibson as the bridge post. Just wanted to give an update on what I needed to do to this thing to actually make it work. So the bridge posts and studs or anchors were loose. You'd be able to just pull them out by hand. So I had to fill those out with dowel and glue and then drill them out again smaller so that there's a snug fit. So I ran a new ground wire going from inside the hole of this post, right? So when it presses in, it touches the ground wire, the exposed end, and then the other end goes into the control cavity. And then press them in, and so now these are solid, perfectly solid. Like you're not gonna be able to pull them out unless you get a tool to pull them out. Wired it up. We've got, I didn't have CTS pots, but I did have Borden's pots. So kind of the same deal. They're pretty much like CTS. They're a little bit different, but similar quality. So that's what's in there with an orange drop cap. It's all wired in. This is my pickup. This is I call this the 258 Dogear. So 2/58 Dogear. Basically, it's a P90 Dogear, loosely based on 58 spec, but with my own twist to it. And this one in particular is wound a little hotter. I've installed some Godo tuners. And when I went to string it up, I noticed that the frets were really, really rough. They weren't really polished to a shine, which is kind of expected because when you're paying like $200-300 on a guitar shipped to your door with what's under this masking tape, you got to expect some shortcomings. And frets on this one were that upon initial inspection, it didn't look too terrible, but with strings on, you could hear the roughness. You could still hear the roughness. I'm suspecting that the metal used for these frets is not great. Kind of similar probably to the Donner guitar. The stock frets on that were not great. The fretboard on this looks a lot like the Donner fretboard as well, so it's probably the same wood. Probably getting it from the same place, with the same source for wood. So before polishing off the frets, I did also find a couple spots where it was like a really deep, sharp divot, almost like an unwound string got really pressed in hard. So I had to file that out. So then I started checking all the other frets and the frets were so unlevel all the way down. So then I had to straighten the neck out and use this thing to make sure the fretboard was perfectly straight so that I can level the frets to that. And the neck of the fretboard is not like it's a little wavy. Now I'm not going to go and level this thing, pull the frets off and do a full refret job on this, especially after I just did one on the Donner. It was close enough where I could kind of get it straight-ish, and then I leveled the frets. And so now it plays well. It plays well for what it is. So there's no high spots on the frets. But it does feel weird. It doesn't feel right. It's playable. I'm fighting with the nut. So this is supposed to be bone nut, and it appears to be. But they weren't cut right. They were cut too tight, and they were cut too tall in some strings, but not others. So they're very inconsistent. So I'm going to be fixing the nut slots. And once that's done, I'm going to bring that down so that it's just better cut, less sharp edges and stuff, so that it feels worn in. What else about this? Yeah, like the strings the action is set to Gibson spec, but somewhere around here they still feel high here, but the neck is pretty straight. There's just a hint of relief, so it's just a weird feeling guitar. The neck angle is the Epiphone neck angle, so it's a little less back angled, which is probably going to play in its favor here once I dial in this nut. It's going a bit out of tune. It does have Ernie Ball, cobalts, and I don't like Ernie Ball strings at all, and especially not the cobalts. There's a sound to them that just doesn't do it for me. No matter what pickup, what guitar, whatever, you put them on any guitar, those strings have a sound, but this isn't my guitar. This is a customer guitar, so that's his preference. You know, one man's gold, one man's trash is another man's gold, however the saying goes. So, all in all, so this guitar here needed new tuners. The stock tuners were junk. We put some Godos on there. Look essentially the same from what was stock, only, nickel buttons instead of the plastic. But they do turn smoother. They're stiffer. They're going to hold up better. Leveled the frets, recrowned the frets, sanded and polished them as best I could. It's not great fret material, so they're not polishing the way that quality fret material is used to polish. Like on the Donner project, those polished like a mirror. These you can even hear. There's still a little scratching. I went all the way up to 2000 grit, and then Dremel polished it, and they still look half polished. So I don't know how long those frets are going to last. You might need a refret in a year. So Wilkinson bridge, it is sitting a little canted on the Wilkinson posts. There is a fix on that. You take this is the wrong washer, but if you take, I can't remember, I think it's a like an output jack washer, right? And it's thinner than this, so this is kind of thick. But the output jack washers, you snip right here so that you can open it up and put it into the, I don't have one laying around, into the stud. So basically you're shimming it so that the bridge is straightened out. It's an old trick on PRS guitars when they start to lean or whatever. So the bridge, rewired the whole thing, got a good Switchcraft output jack, a Gibson jack plate, Romain pickups, 258 Dogear P90 overwound. And in this guitar, it sounds like this. So as far as the wood goes, it's mahogany-ish. I don't know. It looks like mahogany. Has some resonance to it. It doesn't sound bad per se. Maybe it's with the frets and the tuning issues that I need to sort out at the nut. It's weird, but we're plugged into the deluxe reverb. Oh yeah. Sold Snake Boy. That went to a better home. That's going to get some use. So we're in the deluxe reverb. Right now we're just the UA, UA Heavenly reverb instead of the amp reverb, just because I like to be able to control it at a pedal and have more knobs and functionality, whereas the Fender reverb is the spring's a little much, and I tend to prefer like a studio plate reverb. Down the road I'll probably prefer plate or spring, and we're always changing our minds on stuff. But this is the guitar wide open on the 258 Dogear through the deluxe reverb with the UA Heavenly. clean setting. Probably want to see the guitar while I'm playing it, not and not just me. Let's see if we can fix this here. We're a little bit canted, but that's there we go. Let's try that, right? After a while, you just hear it go out of tune. So the nut issue is it's all binding and grabbing, right? You could press down on the strings on the opposite side of the nut. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still not quite there. See, just by pulling the strings, it goes back into tune. And as soon as I press the strings back here, it's 2.5 step down. But yeah, 99% of your tuning issues are not the tuners, they're all the nut. Throw some dirt on there, I guess. Wagner blue as usual. It just seems it bends weird. It's probably because the frets aren't super polished. Back in tune again. So I guess what I'm getting at is these guitars are just a bag of surprises. There's a lot of surprises, a lot of mods, a lot of work you have to do to get them running. And even then, you never know what you're going to get, what kind of bass case you're going to get. I've seen a few guitars from this particular builder over the last couple of years, and this is the worst fret situation I've seen from them. Usually you can buff them out and they get all shiny. These ones aren't doing that. They're soft at the ends, so if you polish them with a Dremel and a buffing wheel too much, it heats up, and then they start to warp and come out. And then you start chasing frets and having to glue them, press them in. But you get what's under the masking tape though. So acoustically, it's got a nice volume and resonance, but it never sounds in tune. And I find too, if, I don't know if you can see here, but like by putting pressure on it, see? It's mostly in tune here, but if I just kind of actually rest my arm on it, I'm not pressing hard. So, careful what you buy. You often get what you pay for. There's only so much you can do to make these awesome. And this one here seems to be very flexy. More so than usual, where just playing, you can play it out of tune just by resting your arm on the body. But that's where we're at with that. So if you're interested in getting something like this, you might want to think long and hard before you pull that trigger, because maybe the Epiphone counterpart will blow it out of the water or get you there without having it have as much work done, right? So then when you want to put a pickup in it, you're ahead of the game already. My thoughts, but it's still a pretty cool guitar. I keep going back and forth on how I feel about the whole counterfeit thing. I mean, I do technically have one, but it's a Canadian-made one, and it's awesome. But I don't know. We'll see how it holds up for the customer at gigs. I'm hoping it holds up. Got a bit of stuff to work on here. That should take care of some of the tuning issues, or most of them. But it does have a weird feel. And the G always goes out of tune. Still biting in the nut. So don't buy these.